Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And this time I will, a friend of mine asked me if I could take a look at this old Summicron, Leica Summicron, the collapsible version, which has a problem. You see, normally the front, the lens assembly has to be quite loose, so one take it out and you turn it into the correct position so it's locked. Yeah, that's all fine. But the aperture ring sometimes get really stuck because of old old grease or a lot of dirt in here. So if we turn it, it's quite stiff. Whoa. And it's not because the aperture blades are stiff. No. So if we look here, the lenses actually turn into lock position, so we can just should be able to turn the aperture ring. But if I move it, well, it turns actually with. So it doesn't really matter if the lens is turned over, so it's actually loose and can be put into collapse position. But we can just do this, and it's really stiff. Yeah. And if we do it the other way, it will just turn the whole lens assembly and not anything else. But it's because of the aperture ring and also the area around here is really dirty. Of course, I have been into the lens just to take a sneak peek inside. And to my conclusion, well, it was really dirty. So it needs to be cleaned. I mean, the lens element looks really good. Focus is really good. There is no problem with that. But it's simply the aperture ring itself with the mechanical stuff in here. And I really want to take it apart and look how it can be done. I don't know how Leica do it, but I will just show you how I do it. And it's not that hard to fix. The hardest problem here was actually the very stiff front lens group here, because if we look here carefully here, this is where the front lens group will be unscrewed from. So and I really try many things with a lot of of course isopropyl alcohol, and I spent a lot of cotton buds to simply add to try to get some isopropyl alcohol in there, but nothing really helped. So I simply get in touch with my super sticky gloves, which has really sticky rubber, and in that way simply have it here. But the problem is here, when you turn the what do you say, the lens assembly will turn, yeah, and when you turn it, it will go in here. So we need to have some kind of that block, and it would it turn out to be some nylon, just like this, and it can fit into here. And we have to do it on both sides, and in that way, what do you say, have have a good grip on here, and the lens assembly will not be pushed in, so I can turn it. Of course, I have been into it right now, after a while, but the rubber cone here, it will be number 5. See this one here. It also worked really good, but the gloves was really much better. So simply have a good grip on here, and it comes free. But of course, I have been into it, so it is much more loose than it was before. So make sure one thing: when you have turned unscrewed the front, it will look like this. There's nothing wrong in here, but as long as we can see here around the circumference, there is a lot of dirt. So of course the aperture ring, which we can, it will of course also turn, and in that way it will get it much more stiff. The dot ring here, index ring, I would say, has to sit there. It also needs some cleaning, because there's actually, we can see it here around, there's a lot of dirt, so it also needs some cleaning. Well, I will just park this on a rubber stand, kind of a gasket. Works pretty good. And now we can look into the actual aperture assembly here. Now it gets more free because of there is the index ring here is out, and there is no pressure on the actual aperture ring, so it will be a little more easy to move. But I will just fully close the aperture, so there will come less dust in here. Now we have to really be careful, because here, right here, see there is a kind of a spring here. Underneath here, it will say the click is in here on this side, actually, and it is the little steel ball. So we look here, see underneath here there's a little steel ball. So what we can do is take a 2mm flathead screwdriver. We need one more thing. There is a plastic spacer here, and we need to take that out. So hope you can see it. Take that away. It's just a spacer. It does really not that much. Of course, it has something to do with the edge here of the inner aperture ring. Now, what we can do is this screw here, just loosen it that much, nothing more than that. And then we take the other screw and just unscrew it, because then we will take away the tension of the leaf spring here. And we need to actually do it so I will just lock the lens into position, and with a tweezer I will just make some more tension on here to the spring, because then I can unscrew. Oh, I am in the camera line. I'll just unscrew this screw, because then there's no tension on there. So that tiny screw, keep that in mind. Then it's a lot easier to take out the aperture ring. It will be more loose, but there are two screws, one here on this side and one here, and they are going into the inner part here. But if I just take out I take off the aperture ring, and I think, okay, I will also take this out, I will have problem with the leaves, the aperture leaves. So I figure out, okay, I need to have something that press down on the aperture, as long as I have the aperture ring out and the inner part here that moves the blades. And I found out an 11mm wrench top, or you could, because it has a little weight, so I can just drop it down here and it will make pressure on the leaves, the aperture leaves, and it will just stay there. Or you could use a 16mm tube, or a 11mm wrench top, just like this one. It should work. I mean, it works in this case, and I have just been looking into the aperture ring and the part, the brown one here. I don't know what's called, but and when we take out the screw, before we take out the screws, we need some isopropyl alcohol, just to make it easier to get the small screws out, because there could be some kind of thread lock in here. So we just add a little here, and we'll do the same with the other screw, and in that way will not damage the screw or the thread in here. Also, things to keep in mind, it is the aperture ring has to sit when you put it back in again. The 16, see here, has to sit with the index ring gap here. Just so we know that, because, and then the inner aperture ring also have to sit correct, because if you put it in and it sits wrong, you will have problem with the two pins here, and then you cannot fully open the aperture or fully close it. So do yourself a favor and set a mark here. I already done it, and set another one here. Well, that will at least get it a little easier to remember where things should sit. So now we are actually ready to dig deeper into it. So I will just use my, well, at least a 2.5mm screwdriver, flathead, and it has to sit perfect in this, in the screw head, and just wiggle it a little, so it will get the isopropyl alcohol nice into the thread. And keep in mind, those screws are not just an ordinary screw. See, it can't go wrong, but here you see them. They are special for this, and so keep in mind to have them safe put away. And then we can take the other one. So, and still keep on to the aperture ring, and don't even think of turning over the lens just to get some things out. You will have problem. And also I have the pin up here all the time, so I have a kind of reference. So now we can take, remember it's set on 16, so it should be fine. So I can just lift off the actual aperture ring. Remember the steel ball is here, and lift it off gently. So now we can see here is the notch for the aperture steel ball that goes into it. But if we look into here, there is a lot of gunk and dirt in here, and it needs to be of course cleaned away with isopropyl alcohol. And now I would like to take out the brown ring here, and then I will just use my wrench top to push down onto the aperture blade so they will stay there. Then use, well, I was thinking, okay, how the hell do I get this out? Well, just a little spring steel, just a piece of steel where I have bent it here, and they have sharp corners. So the only thing I need to do, put it down here just like a tweezer, and then that way I can hold down to the wrench top and hopefully gently get it up. Maybe I need to use a tool like a dentist tool to lift up the one side of here, just to get it a little loose, because it can sit a little tight, and I don't want to have all the blades out. It will not be good. So put this in again and try to wiggle it out. Well, it worked earlier, at least when first I was in. So now we can see here. So this is out. And now we can see there is really a lot of, it's a bit worn out here with the brass. So I don't know how good it will be actually. But of course I will give it a very, very light grease. So it will be, at least have some kind of lubrication. So this is what it is. And if we look closer into here, I can just lift up this one. The blades look really good. There's not really much on that. And inside this tube here, the barrel, it also looks okay. There's not really much, I mean, looks like there's not anything dirt in here. But of course I will use my cotton bud to come around here and get something at least free. But for now, I will just clean the other stuff and be back sooner. Now cleaning, yeah, I actually got those here, get quite clean. But there is of course, the painting or the coating on here around is actually a bit worn out. So there's not really anything I can do about that. in here, in the aperture ring itself, I've actually cleaned it quite good, so it looks nice and fine. But of course, well, it's an old lens, so and then I will just do the area around here, get that clean. I will just speed up the process, so there's no need for waiting for that too much. And of course, the steel ball here needs to be taken out. So I will just push it out a bit, something like that. Or maybe I can just move the spring a little, and with my tweezer simply press the spring out, the steel ball out a little. Try to do this. Need some, yeah, here you can see it's fine. So now continue with the cleaning process. Well, now you can see there is a lot of old stuff around the edge of where the aperture ring is actually attached to or pressing onto, and it's really a lot of old, and the stuff sits quite tight. It's very sticky. I would think it's old lube or something like that, but of course I don't know. I will simply just do a nice cleaning around the edge and get it nice and fine before I add some new lube. So I think it will be all fine. And I think the aperture ring will be nice and very easy to turn, no matter how much the inner aperture part is worn out a bit. Well, we'll see. So now I can get rid of the isopropyl alcohol and then begin to use add some grease. For this case, I will use the Molykote EM60L, which is a low temperature grease, and it's good with plastic and plastic metal and metal, which is really good. So it looks really good. It's just like any other grease, but this is just so much better, in my opinion. Well, maybe it's a little too much, but we can always take it away. So maybe I should add it on the aperture ring itself instead of doing here. It's more complicated, so I would think it's better to add it here. It's really good stuff. It's simply the best grease I have found for finer lens work. Other people have maybe found some other stuff, and that's fine. But it's really difficult to find a good grease that is good on metal, and also plastic, and a mix of that. Now I can put this on, and of course I have to have it sit correct. It will say aperture 16 has to sit where the notch is. So it will be something like that. And then we can move it around, and it feels actually very good. Then I can wipe away what is, if there is a little coming out on the side, on the edge. I mean, there has to be something at least, but for now it's fine. So then I will add something in here, and it doesn't have to be a lot, just a little. This grease is actually not has not separated, at least in a half a year. Then I tried in many different locations, I mean in many different temperatures and humidity, all from extremely dry up to high temperature, low temperature, and it doesn't really any difference. So I would think it could be a very good solution for greases for helicoils, which I already have tried on some lenses, but I will soon come out with another one where I use this grease, and I think it will be fine for now. And then I have to put it on the correct place, and since I already set the mark down here, the little blue stuff here, which I will of course remove, and I also set one here on this side. Well, it will come in to sit the correct place. Well, I know I forgot the steel ball, but it will come in after, just so I can put this in the correct position with my little smart tool. So there. And we can lower it, and then it will become to sit correct over the plates, so we can see that. Oh, feels really good, this one. Now onto the little aperture spring steel ball thingy, and where is it? I will just go here, and I will just give it a little cleaning, so all the gunk is away, and then put it in here. So it needs a little press here. Of course, when I put the two screws in here, the spring will have the correct tension on the steel ball. But for now I can put in the aperture ring, and it will be all fine. And of course the two holes here on each side, they have to sit correct in here. So it should be something like that. Now I can try to add one of the screws and see if I can push it in. One really have to be aware of the gap here where the screw actually come out from the outside. So there. And you really have to be careful not. Remember, the thread is in the aperture ring, not in here. So you have to remember the little pin that sticks into here sits correct and not pushing on the side here, in here, or the other side. If so, you could probably do some damage to the internal aperture ring. So just give it a little tight, and we will take the other side as well, and then I can add the other little screw after that. You see, this one was a little tricky when I at first was in it, so one have to be really aware of that. Gently tighten it, and then it is so. So now the ring will sit correct. It cannot come out, so I can take out the little wrench top here and see how good it is. Whoa! Now that's a huge difference. I mean, a huge difference. It moves freely without any stiffness at all. How good is that? So then I can add the little, this little screw, the plastic ring, and the index ring here, so it has to sit correct, and then the front lens screw, and then we are done. So I'll just get this one here. It's a 2mm flathead screwdriver, and then I will use my A tweezer to press onto the spring. Maybe it's better to do it that way. Hopefully you can see what's happening. That's the most important. Then I can press onto the maybe a little other tweezer here. See, when I press on the side of the spring, it will move in, and then I can add the little screw, and hopefully, because I cannot really see it, I see it through my monitor in front of me, which is really good. I just use my iPad as a monitor in this case. So have it screwed in, tighten it very, very gently, and then now we have a really, wow, now that's good. And of course it's so much more likely to, easy to move, and all the clicks are really good. Now, then I can add the aperture ring, the index ring, but of course it needs some lube, because it will this side here. See the index? I mean the pin here that goes into the notch. There has to be at least some, in my opinion, there has to be at least some grease around this edge, because there will be some light pressure on it. So I'll just add a very little. Doesn't have to be a huge amount, just a very thin film. And So I think it will be fine. Then we can add this here. So, and it sits really good. See, if I press down the index ring here, I can freely move the aperture ring without any problems. So let's see how good it will be. Then I, of course, I need to clean the outer here, but I don't think, is it really necessary? Because, no, there will be no connection here around the edge here. So there's no problem doing that. I mean, let it just be as it is. And just to see if there's any small things in here that shouldn't be there. So now I can put in, I almost forgot the little spacer, I mean the little plastic spacer. So yeah, and also the little dot I have to remove a little so it will not be there anymore. And this plastic ring, almost impossible to see, so I just forgot it was lying on my desk, but it has to sit there, so no problem with that. So, and then I can put it in the lens assembly, front lens group, and remember to have the little pin here in the index ring sit in the notch, and then we can just, everything looks fine. Going a little backwards so we can catch the thread. It will be there. Yeah, everything looks fine. What a dumb thing. Oh, but still, the aperture ring, wow. Now that is really good. So now everything is fine. The lens is back on track, and hope you enjoy the content, even this little stupid failure. Well, so it is. See you sooner. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.